How y'all doing, YouTube? Today I will be reacting to most toxic QB rooms in NFL history. I wondered what this is. Well, I know what this is going to be about. Let's get toxic. Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. First thing I see.
There have been some seriously toxic quarterback rooms in the NFL.
My quarterback room was not a home for me because of Brian Hoyer.
With stakes so high,
Johnny
egos
Manziel.
so big, competition at the highest level can bring out the worst in people.
You know, both of us are competing for the same spot, so we're not going to be, of course, the best of friends.
In today's video, we're going to break down some of the most notoriously toxic quarterback rooms in
I feel like any white man with a short buzz cut, it's automatically Eminem. Is that the reverse racism? Like me, I'm Waka Flocka. I'm Chief Keef.
NFL history. Now, to clarify, this can either mean the dynamic between the 2 to 3 quarterbacks on any given roster, or it can mean the quarterback situation caused a rift within the organization, from other players to the front office and coaching staff.
Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz did not speak for anywhere of a period of time of from 8 weeks to 10 weeks.
Carson, do you feel this organization puts you in a position to succeed this season?
Listen, I mean, we've had a lot of things this year.
All right, with all that out of the way, let's begin with the organization that's the king of dysfunction.
Turn out the quality. That quality was ass.
In 2014, the Cleveland
There we
Browns
go.
drafted college football's biggest star in recent memory, Johnny Manziel. He walked on stage, flashed the money sign, and shook Roger Goodell's hand as the new face of the Cleveland Browns. While much of
I
Cleveland
think that's what set him up. The money sign. That's what did it.
was celebrating, the current starter for the Browns, Brian Hoyer, was not. Hoyer had been the team starter for 3 games the prior year, and he looked really solid going 3-0 before tearing his ACL and ending his season.
Bro, you know what's funny, bro? I remember Brian Hoyer that year. Cause Brian Hoyer, that's a crazy name. Holy shit. Brian Hoyer was actually a good quarterback, bro. He was cooking. I remember Brian Hoyer. He was cooking. He was cooking for that, them first 3 games. He was cooking for that season. He was undefeated. It was good. And I remember, he got hurt, and then they drafted Johnny Manziel, and Johnny Manziel was supposed to be the new guy. Yeah, I remember all this.
Hoyer assumed he was going to be the starter going into 2014. Ironically enough, the movie Draft Day, a fictional movie about the Browns front office dealing with the chaos of Draft Day, came out that year. And literally a very similar quarterback scenario was one of the main themes of the movie, where the team's current starter was pissed off that the team traded up to draft a quarterback. Of course, in the movie, the Browns was pissed off that the team traded up to draft a quarterback.
Watching a video called Most Toxic QB Rooms. I wouldn't think Diddy would have been in one of those rooms. Because if Diddy's in one of those rooms, better watch if you're stepping. Because there might be some Diddy oil. Anywhere you go.
Of course, in the movie, the Browns chose not to draft Bo Callahan.
I can't run away from this nigga. Just pop up everywhere.
Previous starter.
Shout out to Chadwick
In real
Boseman.
life, the Browns prepared to enter the 2014 season with the most heavily anticipated quarterback battle in the NFL.
Brian Hoyer, nice guy, I guess.
There was constant media coverage day in and day out, and people
Yeah, I
like
remember this.
LeBron showed up to training camp to see Johnny football. There was all the hype in the world for the new guy, but the old guy wasn't going to give up his job that easy. Brian Hoyer was the day 1 starter. And at first, he kept the Manziel noise down by leading the Browns to a 7-4 record.
Looking deep for Gabriel, he makes the grab!
However,
He was
a
good.
3-game stretch that saw him throw 0 touchdowns and 7 interceptions led to his benching
Take everything I said back.
for Manziel.
No, I'm just playing. Previously, he was good. But when Johnny came on team, that's when he started playing bad and gave him his opportunity.
Start 13 games, you don't want to be told with 3 games left that it's being taken away from you, so it hurts. But
I mean, that's what they drafted the nigga for,
At the
bro.
time of his benching, the word on the block was that these 2 dudes just did not like each other.
For some reason, there's this misconception that Johnny and I don't get along, and this is just the situation we're in.
Johnny ended up starting 2 games after Hoyer's benching, and it went about as bad as things could have.
Yeah, I remember.
Throw, looking, and it's going to be intercepted.
Overall, his rookie year was considered a disaster, with him ending up in rehab.
How many times did I say, Stephen A., if the alcohol somehow becomes a bigger problem and gets the best of him, then all bets are off.
After 2014,
Skip
Hoyer
Bayless
would
get
lead
to
the
saying
team,
that shit
and
about
the
you,
Browns
it's
brought
over.
in Josh McCown to specifically mentor Johnny in 2015. Years later, Manziel addressed how his quarterback room felt during the 2014 season.
My quarterback room was not a home for me because of Brian Hoyer. And he saw how much of an upper hand he had on me, and he didn't hold back when it came to that.
I'm on my vacation last week in Florida, and I get a text from Mac Jones who goes, "Hey, funny, I didn't get this treatment as a rookie." And look, I'll be honest, you know, Johnny's right. That was an opportunity for me to go out and be the starter of my hometown team. But I was kind of apathetic towards him, I would say. You know, I feel sorry that he feels that way about it.
It's understandable why Hoyer wasn't exactly warm and fuzzy toward.
I mean, that's the job, bro. Like, you trying to come and take my job, man. That's how the quarterbacks take it. You're trying to come and take my job. Why should I help you out? Like, that's, hey, you need to get in more in the books to take this nigga job. It's a QB competition, like what's going on with Kyler Murray right now, and JJ McCarthy. You think Kyler Murray want to teach this nigga? No. Think Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders is on? No, Shedeur is there to take his job. Think Deshaun is helping him out? Hell no. If he is helping him out, he giving him backhanded help, telling that nigga shit that a preschool quarterback should know.
Manziel, considering this was his first real chance to be an NFL starter in his 6 years.
It's not the job of them to do that. It's not the job of Deshaun Watson to teach Shedeur Sanders. It's the quarterback coach's job to teach both. It's the job for Shedeur Sanders to teach himself. It's the job for him to lock in and learn as much as he should.
Career to that point. But I also think it's important to make the point that Hoyer sat behind Tom Brady for 3 years to begin his career. Brady is a man who embodies a maniacal work ethic and attention to detail. And in contrast, Johnny Manziel admitted that he watched zero film during his time in the NFL.
That's your fault,
so
exactly.
not only did he not respect what it took to be a pro,
so you gonna come
at
at Brian Hoyer after you retire and everything is done. You gonna come at him, and when you know you ain't watching no tape. Bruh.
Of the front office and fan base
Bruh.
compared to Hoyer. Now, before we continue, football season is back. It's a great time to get your hands on some tickets if you want to go to some games, which you can do through today's video sponsor, SeatGeek. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. I'm excited to get out to a couple local games near me. I might catch a Falcons game or two. And I love using SeatGeek because they make it simple, with each ticket rated on a scale from 1 to
My fault.
10. So
Skip.
49ers out.
I do it for y'all don't have to.
In 1986, the San Francisco 49ers were one of the best teams in football. They had been a Super Bowl contender year in and year out. And they had a franchise quarterback who had won them 2 Super Bowls to that point in Joe Montana. But after an injury-riddled season where Montana missed most of the year, head coach Bill Walsh wasn't satisfied, so he brought in Steve Young as a backup plan. Young had spent 2 disastrous years in Tampa after coming over from the USFL. He was seen as a bust in Tampa, but Walsh saw his potential from afar.
I didn't even know Steve Young played for
Montana's status
I
as
didn't
one
even
of
know.
the best players
I didn't
in
know
the
he
league,
played.
This immediately
I didn't know he played for Tampa.
Created drama. And as Young put it was awkward from the very beginning.
I want to play desperately, and I'm going to try to drive everyone nuts till they give me a shot.
Also from the beginning, head coach Bill Walsh leaned into the controversy.
But our problem is we have 2, and there's a quarterback controversy developing. We're going to have to select between Steve Young and Joe Montana.
With Montana assuming the starting role in 1987, Walsh would send in Young.
Look at them old chin straps.
With Montana.
Look at them old chin straps, my nigga. Jesus. The fuck you supposed to do with one of them?
Assuming the starting role in 1987, Walsh would send in Young here and there to give the quarterback some opportunities, even starting a handful of games despite the Niners being one of the top teams in the league, and Montana having a near MVP level season. Now, in all fairness to Young, he did play lights out, throwing 10 touchdowns to 0 interceptions in his 3 starts in 1987. For the relationship between the two quarterbacks, it was awkward, but no bad blood between the two.
Joe and I got along, but it was awkward from the very first time we met. I think that's kind of the drama. As much as I can say, that's as much drama as I felt.
While the Niners continued to play well as a team, a locker room divide had begun to form. There were the Joe Montana loyalists, and the quieter and less popular Steve Young supporters. For the most part, especially early on, the older veterans and
Joe Montana still got a fan base to this day that ride or die for this nigga.
In the Montana camp, things got so bad that Steve Young would often eat in isolation because teammates were too intimidated by the veterans to be seen sitting next to Young.
What, so I gotta sit here and eat dessert alone like I'm Steven Glansberg?
Even if Young would sit next to teammates, they would often move away. At one point, Young had thoughts of leaving the team in order to play more.
I wanted out. I was the one that had Lee Steinberg go figure out how to get me out of here. Like, I gotta get out of here. I can't take it.
Aspects of this cold shoulder dynamic lasted for the better part of 4 to 5 years. But after Young decided to stick around, the locker room dynamic slowly started shifting in his favor. An unfortunate injury to Joe Montana's elbow in the 1990 NFC title game forced him to miss all of the following season. This meant that Young was going to get his first real shot at being the team's full-time starter. And after Steve Young's first MVP season in 1992, the team sent off Joe Montana to the Kansas City Chiefs. This officially made the Niners Steve Young's team. In the end, somehow this dynamic didn't blow up in the team's face, and instead brought the best of both quarterbacks. But beyond the game, fans have alluded to a noticeable rift that still exists between Montana and Young. It may not be aimed directly at each other, but rather the situation they had. Most young quarterbacks enter the league, and regardless of draft position, they often look for advice from older veterans. However, this allegedly was not the case for Justin Fields when the Bears drafted him in 2021. Entering his rookie season, Fields began as the backup behind Andy Dalton, and the quarterback room overall included Dalton, Fields, and Nick Foles. Considering Dalton had made multiple Pro Bowls to that point, and Nick Foles had led the Eagles to Super Bowl glory years prior,
it's actually a pretty good quarterback room.
This was a really strong quarterback room to enter for a young first-round pick, in terms of having veteran leadership around him. But Fields was having none of it. According to the New York Post, Fields, quote, couldn't take much constructive criticism from Foles, who attempted to advise the young quarterback only to find out that Fields was not paying attention. An anonymous source from that same article said that these two could not stand each other due to Fields' lack of respect for Foles. The dynamic that played out with these three guys typically involved Dalton and Foles together, and Fields isolating himself from them. You'd often see Dalton and Foles walking side by side, with Fields trailing 15 yards behind them. According to NFL writer Ty Dunn, the environment of the quarterback room with these three was toxic as hell. Quote, one source plugged into the Bears locker room says the widely held narrative that Fields was a strong leader is inflated, citing the quarterback as a surface level dude who did.
The only reason I'm listening to this is I'm a Bears fan. So they trying to say the narrative they trying to push, because always was a narrative with Fields that he don't want to learn, he don't want to do this. But hey, I think he just said one of the quarterbacks even said this nigga was not trying to listen. So hey, bro, what the fuck? He Fields, he got a little ego, bro. He got a little ego. But it's crazy, he got that little ego, and look at him. Can't even complete a 15-yard pass.
Didn't develop authentic relationships with teammates. He called reports that teammates love Fields BS, adding that the quarterback carried himself with an undeserved aura and lacks emotional intelligence for someone who's been a quarterback so long. This dynamic weighed heavy on a rough rookie season for Justin Fields and the 2021 Bears.
Field delivered, intercepted, Quay Walker's got it.
The team finished 6-11, and Fields started 10 of those games looking overwhelmed most of the time. The front office and coaching staff were fired after the season,
You don't start him right away.
Right.
And
The
then
team
when
was
he does
ass.
get the opportunity to start, there is no plan in place to take advantage of the
That
things
offense
he can
was
do.
ass.
And the team got rid of Dalton and Foles in part to get rid of this toxic dynamic.
Foles is done to the Colts.
The dynamic in the Bears locker room after 2021 did improve, but Fields never materialized into their franchise starter. Now, looking back, he made this infamous comment after his first preseason game.
It was actually kind of slow to me, to be honest.
This was a comment that some praised at the time, saying that it showed confidence. But oddly enough, the biggest criticism against Fields during his time in the NFL so far is that the game has been too fast for him to process.
It was ass. It was an ass team, ass position to put him in, and he tried his best, bro. Shout out to Fields.
In 2005, the story of the NFL draft was Cal quarterback Aaron Rodgers falling out of the top 10 and all the way down.
So far, I gotta be honest, this video, it ain't that toxic. I gotta be honest with y'all, it ain't that toxic.
To 24.
The most toxic was the Johnny Manziel shit.
Then, of all
but
teams,
it's about to get
Green
toxic
Bay
though.
Packers selected him. This was quite a shock to many, considering the team still had future Hall of Famer Brett Favre still playing at a high level. Favre, who was in his mid-30s at the time, wasn't thrilled with this draft pick, considering A, Rodgers was eventually meant to take his job, and B, they could have drafted him another good weapon with that first-round pick. For the next 3 years, Favre continued to lead the Packers, while Rodgers sat on the bench. And throughout this time, the relationship between these two quarterbacks was tense. Rodgers had hoped that Favre would help mentor him, but that did not happen.
That ain't happen at all, brother.
The present starter, like myself in that case, is paid to be a mentor, so to speak, or if that's part of the job.
As a fraternity of quarterbacks over the years, to help the next guy, because that's helping out a league that's been great to you.
You know, his thought was, man, I'm the quarterback. You brought him in, you help him.
You help him,
released back in 2016,
you correct.
Titled Gunslinger, The Remarkable, Improbable, Iconic Life of Brett Favre by author Jeff Pearlman, detailed the strained relationship between these two guys. Rodgers apparently made a very poor first impression on Favre. In their first meeting, Rodgers walked up to Favre saying, "Good morning, Grandpa." And Favre, pissed off by this comment, didn't say anything in return. Here's a direct quote from the book. Quote, Rodgers liked to brag about the 35 he scored on the Wonderlic. One day in a quarterback meeting, he said, "Brett, what did you get on it?" "I have no idea," he replied. "I do," Rodgers said. "I looked it up. You got a 22. Effing Wonderlic scorer," Favre mumbled. "Do you believe that shit? I run circles around his ass."
Wow. Aaron Rodgers was a dick from the start. He was a dick from the start. He loved popping his shit though. I like when niggas pop their shit though. He pop your shit, pop your shit. Hey, pop your shit. He came in there popping his shit. You know, that gotta get some claps. You feel me? Yeah, a little shit talk. Ain't nothing wrong with it. A little shit talk. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Following the 2007 season, Favre decided to retire.
As they say, all good things.
As you say, all nigga, make this nigga retire, nigga. As you say, all good things come to an end. Nigga Rodgers made that nigga retire, nigga.
Let's come to an end.
And this is where things turned up a notch. In March 2008, Favre announced his retirement with tears in his eyes. This meant that the torch was officially passed to Aaron Rodgers. So the team began preparing for that. But then this happened. Just months after retiring, Favre was ready to take back his starting job like nothing had ever happened.
They always say it's a woman's prerogative to change your mind. Well, guess what? If he wants to come back, let him come back.
He's coming back.
But Green Bay's staff and front office refused to just hand him back the reins, as they were ready to move on to Rodgers. This caused a frenzy amongst Packers fans and the media. Things were tense during training camp, and the result was that the team traded Favre to the Jets. Ironically enough, Rodgers got to experience exactly what Favre did many years later when the team drafted Jordan Love. It does seem that the next time around, though, the vibe between the two quarterbacks wasn't tense like it was with Rodgers and Favre.
It wasn't tense.
Rodgers himself made a conscious effort to mentor Love and avoid hostility. It was all love between them. But eventually Rodgers did feud with the front office based on poor communication.
Yeah, he took the shit towards the front office.
Rodgers to being traded to the Jets.
To the Jets.
Just like Brett Favre.
Ironically.
The relationship that existed between Rodgers and Favre.
Green Bay ain't shit for that. They did that shit on purpose.
Most famous example of a tense quarterback room dynamic. It's made even more famous the fact that both played at a Hall of Fame level during their careers in Green Bay. To have that level of success at the quarterback position back to back is extremely rare. And oddly enough, we've seen the other famous example in this video with Montana and Young. These two actually mended their relationship and have a much stronger bond today.
Congratulations, man, on passing my touchdown record. I have one request. Go get us another Super Bowl.
Favre took accountability for his actions, saying on the radio in 2013, quote, "It's over and done with. I was at fault." Even their old teammate Charles Woodson was surprised at how much their relationship had grown, as he said something funny about the situation, quote, "They're golfing together, shooting commercials together." And I'm like, what the hell just happened? I used to be buddies with both of them. Now they kicked me out and they're buddies. Damn. Favre and Rodgers even poked fun at their old history together during the 2013 NFL Honors, where they
kinda get mad, they ain't friends no more.
Joked about things that happened between them, and they purposely did an awkward handshake at the end.
That was awkward.
2020 was a rough year to be involved with the Eagles quarterback room. In that year's draft, they selected Jalen Hurts in the second round, immediately ruffling the feathers of their current starter, Carson Wentz. Wentz was the second overall pick back in 2016, who at one point looked like a future superstar. But he had struggled as of late. This toxic quarterback
Carson Wentz was
wasn't
hot,
necessarily
bro. He was an MVP candidate.
Although there may have been that. This more so had to do with the relationship between Wentz and head coach Doug Peterson, and the spilling out of that to the rest of the locker room. According to Jeff McClain of the Philadelphia Inquirer, quote, "Peterson would call a play, only for his quarterback to occasionally kill it for no other reason than his personal distaste," sources said. "It became a pissing match between the two," one of the sources said. Now, this next part is truly insane. Quote, "To give you an idea of how ugly things got, it seems that at one point, Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson went more than 2 months without talking to each other. It might be normal to give someone the silent treatment in high school, but it's definitely not normal in the NFL. While this couldn't literally be true since they had to talk on the headset during game day, we can assume that this meant face-to-face in practice and outside of practice, which is embarrassing considering how much money they make to be in the best possible communication to win. The season was a complete disaster.
I didn't know it was that toxic.
Where he played by far the worst ball of his career, going 3-8-1 as the starter before being benched.
Things just started going a little sideways for us, and then I had to put him on the sideline. I look back on it now, and I would have done the same thing.
The real breaking point for Wentz was when they played Seattle, and Peterson kept throwing in Hurts in specific situations. To Wentz, this felt like a slap in the face, and clearly affected him negatively.
It's not just Wentz. Peterson going for it down 11 on 4th down. To me, that's Peterson saying, I don't want anything to do with this.
According to one CBS Sports insider, quote, "Wentz had been falling out of favor with the locker room, was unable to connect with a swath of players, and was acting more in self-interest than what would be expected from a franchise quarterback and leader."
Like Peterson, the most notable thing that was said.
One word he used, he said, Carson can work on being more accessible.
Also, one of his former teammates, Brandon Graham, said the following, quote, "If Carson would have dealt with it differently, we would have been behind him too." Ultimately, the Eagles turned to Jalen Hurts to finish 2020. But that season ended in one of the most bizarre ways we've ever seen. In the final week of the season, despite being in a close game late, Peterson decided to bench Hurts.
I'm just not realizing that nigga used the word number 2.
In favor of Nate Sudfeld. This was the reason they went on to lose. and it was seen by everybody as a deliberate attempt to try and lose, which pissed off most of the locker room. Not to mention, Peterson was fired shortly after. Long story short, they got a new coach, and turns out choosing a role with Hurts over Wentz was a good decision. Wentz became a journeyman after that.
Yeah, it was over with
Hurts
at that
helped
point.
lead the franchise to a pair of Super Bowl appearances, winning one of them.
Look, Wentz, dog, hey, you had a good run. Nick Foles took your bowl away from you, and then he came and took another bowl away from you. Life is tough. So what? Get up, make new eggs? I don't know. Life fucked up, man. Life is tough.
In 2021, after 20 years of Tom Brady and 1 year of Cam Newton, the Patriots drafted Mac Jones to be the new face of the franchise. And it looked hopeful at first.
I want to know how this
The
went.
vibes began to shift by the 2022 and 2023 season. It got a lot worse, and all of a sudden, Jones was fighting to keep his starting job throughout 2023. And he struggled to handle the tidal wave of adversity he had to deal with. As the weeks passed, Jones clearly lacked confidence and played poorly. And behind the scenes, there was some serious tension between him and backup Bailey Zappi.
This is
Reports
Mac
later came out
Jones.
that the two quarterbacks would barely communicate with each other.
We're in the same quarterback room. We spend, pretty much every day, all day together.
Okay, they're in the same room together, but are they talking?
This actually dated back to the prior season, where the tension was so high that Zappi would occasionally leave the quarterback room to go watch film with the receivers instead. By late November in 2023, the season was proving to be a complete disaster with
Nigga
Jones
say, I don't
leading
even
the
want to
offense.
watch tape with
He
you.
was benched a staggering 4 different times. Defensive players expressed frustrations with the offense, and some of the players just preferred Zappi's attitude.
The most popular man in New England, Bailey Zappi.
By the end of the season,
That's crazy.
Zappi was the established QB1, and Jones had been relegated all the way to third stringer.
Mac Jones, we all thought he was like a high floor, low ceiling type of player, but it seems like the floor has gotten lower on them.
Which was essentially a ticket out the door once the season was over.
How was your relationship with Zappi when all this stuff is taking place in your career?
It was weird. I think honestly, it was weird for both of us. I don't know, he went in there and played really good, which is awesome. And I don't know, it was weird though, because it was that was my team,
The truth was, this quarterback room was screwed from the beginning.
He played
Josh
better than him.
McDaniels ended up leaving. That was kind of step one. Thanks, Josh.
After one of the best offensive coaches in the league, Josh
That was the
McDaniels,
issue.
left for a head coaching job, Belichick made Matt Patricia the offensive play caller. This was a jarring decision considering Patricia was a defensive coach. Also, Belichick's a defensive coach, and he would often butt in to give his 2 cents, which led to offensive dysfunction. The offensive coaching staff...
Belichick is a legend, but that was a terrible decision. You made your defensive coach your offensive coach, and you're your defensive coach, and you're budgeting into your offense. That's a terrible idea.
Belichick had put together was nothing short of a complete disaster in both 2022 and 2023. Then during 2023, the communication between Jones and Belichick was pretty much non-existent by the end. That's the opposite of what you'd want to hear as a fan. I think with Belichick on his way out of town, he was just done with everything, which really sucks for a young quarterback. The Patriots got rid of Belichick after 24 seasons, most of which was characterized by,
And we know Brady was better. Brady was the reason.
remarkable resilience and consistency.
Because Brady
Yet
won.
It ended in just the opposite fashion. The era of Rex Ryan with the Jets can be summed up in one word: memorable. His first 2 seasons with the team, he led...
I'm a Bears fan, but for those 2 years, I was a Jets fan. Because of this man right here, Rex fucking Ryan, my nigga. Bro, when I was a kid, nigga, I wanted to run through a wall for this fucking coach.
them on an unprecedented run to back-to-back AFC Championship appearances. They were characterized by a tough, hard-nosed defense and a pretty decent run game, with a young game-managing developing quarterback in Mark Sanchez. The team was hoping that their former first-round quarterback was going to truly become the Sanchez. But by year 3, things began to turn sour.
Don't you, and I mean don't you ever say that shit again, or I'm gonna beat your ass. Don't you ever say that shit again.
The team missed the playoffs, and reports later came out that there was some toxicity within the locker room. Former 7th round backup Greg McElroy called out the team's culture on an Alabama radio station.
Definitely not a fun place to be, I can assure you. It's the first time I've ever been around extremely selfish individuals.
Shortly after his radio station interview went viral, another former Jets team's culture on an Alabama radio station.
Definitely not a fun place to
Greg
be, I can assure you. It's the first time I've ever been around extremely selfish individuals.
Shortly after his radio station interview went viral, another former Jets quarterback, Eric Ainge, said in response to McElroy, quote, "Someone tell McElroy to keep his mouth shut about the New York Jets locker room. Speaking in the media about your teammates, entitled brat." Later on, McElroy apologized.
Yeah, I agree. What the fuck would you speak in the media room about they fucking shit? Nigga, get out of here, bro. Get this nigga out. Or somebody kick this nigga out. He don't deserve to be in the league, my nigga.
For the incident. So clearly, this showed that there was at least some tension within the locker room.
Absolutely,
and
you don't do that.
Within
That's
the quarterback
terrible.
room as well. You also had the tension between Mark Sanchez and other players on the team who felt like that he had been anointed despite a lack of production. Then in 2012, the team turned things up a notch with the pressure.
What does this mean for the Jets?
That's the fascinating thing about this. We have no idea what it means for the Jets.
They said I was a Jet, so I was really excited.
Mark Sanchez will crumble under the pressure of having Tim Tebow waiting. Mark Sanchez will crumble under
That shit is funny, nigga.
the pressure of having Tim Tebow waiting in the wings.
I'm excited to be a Jet.
Skip Bayless is crazy for that take, but this is my thing about this. I'm let me expose this nigga Stephen A again. Stephen A got exposed by Max Kellerman because Max Kellerman exposed the ESPN and the way networks run in general. They give the takes to the other people, and then they make the other people make the crazy takes because that's how you get a show. So let's just say like me Saturday or my show with John Babb. I get before the show, I tell John Babb, yo, you need to talk about we're talking about DC and James Gunn, and I say you got to talk about the craziest shit, and I'm gonna just be the smart looking one. That's exactly how they did this show. So I look at all this shit different now. Stephen A, yeah, you're pretending you're a pretender that you know everything. You make you look smart, all that type of shit. I don't like it.
You're speechless. I'm excited.
Tim Tebow, to me,
You're a fraud.
It's just exciting.
is not bad. He's god awful.
And that's something that excites me.
And the fact that the New York Jets would bring him into Gotham City.
I'm excited to be here.
It's not only an exercise in cruelty towards Tim Tebow.
Called it Gotham City.
This
Hey,
is
this
the
prime
reason why they
Stephen A though.
haven't been to the Super Bowl since Joe Namath.
He was excited about working with me.
This is the reason why they haven't won anything.
They were cheering pretty loud, and that was exciting.
And this is the reason why the New York Giants will always be the team in New York.
I'm excited about being a Jet.
The team made the move to acquire Tim Tebow. Now,
Ain't that
if
nigga
you
here
didn't
the
live
Jet?
through Tebow mania, then it's pretty hard to understand just how crazy that time was.
Tebow mania
the dude
was
one of the
crazy.
biggest stars in college football history and was a very outspoken Christian.
Tebow
He wrote John
mania was
3:16 on his
crazy.
eye black during the 2009 national championship.
You pray to your beliefs of John 3:16, but I'm here to tell you tonight, Austin 3:16 just whooped your ass. That was fucking incredible.
He wrote John 3:16 on his eye black during the 2009 national championship, which led to over 94 million Google searches for that verse within 24 hours. Later, the NCAA banned writing on eye black, which became known as the Tim Tebow rule. Then Tebow got drafted in the first round.
Wait,
by the
what?
That verse within chip, which led to over 94 million Google searches for that verse within 24 hours. Later, the NCAA banned writing on eye black.
Wow. What the fuck does that tell you? Damn. Tebow is pushing something good. And they said, nah, you can't have people looking up the religions. You can't have people believing in God. That's crazy. I never knew that. Wow. What the fuck? These owners, what are y'all? Why would y'all do that? Do they not believe in God? Why am I acting new to this? Nigga? Of course they don't. Hey, what am I doing here, nigga? What am I acting good? Nigga, we already know what's up. What the fuck?
Which became known as the Tim Tebow rule. Then Tebow got drafted in the first round by the Broncos, and the debate surrounding if he could ever really play quarterback never stopped, mostly because he had a very poor throwing motion where he missed on a lot of throws. Plus, he would kneel in big moments, which became a meme known as Tebowing. And then on top of that, despite horrible stats, he somehow led the Broncos on a crazy run to the wildcard round in 2011. Then amazingly helped them defeat the Steelers in dramatic fashion in overtime. But he had been so inefficient throwing the ball that the Broncos eagerly replaced him with Peyton Manning and sent Tebow out of town. And this is the exact moment he came to New York.
Excited to be a Jet.
The QB room that the Jets went to training camp with that year was insane looking back. They had Mark Sanchez, who had been heavily criticized for poor performance and being anointed despite not really showing out on the field. Then you had Tim Tebow, the most polarizing player in the league.
He brought them to AFC championships, though.
Popularity. And then you had Greg McElroy, the guy who had publicly pointed out how toxic this locker room was. The media frenzy was through the roof.
He's going to win maybe, who knows, 8 out of the last 9. He might win all 9 in a row to get to 10-6.
Every intercepted pass or poor drive in practice by Sanchez led to everyone calling for Tim Tebow to get his chance.
I went through all 543 of Mark Sanchez's passes last season.
And the media was tracking exactly how many snaps Tebow was getting every single practice. Then later, anonymous Jets players publicly trashed Tebow throughout the year, saying that he wasn't a real quarterback, and they questioned why he was even brought in. The team was clearly aware of Tebow's limitations because he hardly got any chances to play quarterback that year, often serving more as an up-back on punt team. Tebow was upset about his role with the team, feeling that he was misled by the team's staff. Turns out the team never really had a cohesive plan when they brought in Tebow.
They brought him in just for the name.
Just hoping for the best, I guess. Well, if you were to sum up the 2012 Jets in one play, you already know what it's going to be.
The booty fumble.
The offensive coordinator, you got to bust a play here, and then Sanchez gets hit. Force the offensive coordinator, you got to bust it.
Bruh. Let me see that shit one more time.
You already know.
Like, this shit is funny, my nigga. Like, what are you doing? Like, you have a clear lane to the right, but you run straight into ass. Hey, that's me at the strip club. Boom.
Play here, and then Sanchez gets hit. The ball is loose.
Great way to end the video. Shout out to KTO. Subscribe to his channel. Subscribe, I like this channel. And subscribe to this channel for more reactions. And put in the comment section what I should react to next. And peace from QG.